Hello everybody, this is Zelos back again with a Goshen's game review of Langrisser 1 and 2 Collection by NIS America, out March 10th for Switch, PS4, and Steam. In today's video, I'll be reviewing Langrisser 1 on the PS4. Langrisser 2 will be reviewed at a separate time in a separate video by Goshen. Now, a little bit of history about Langrisser 1. It was originally released in 1991 as War Song on the US for the Genesis. It was re-released in 93 for PC Engine, and again in 97 paired with Langrisser 2 for the PS1, and then finally it got a PC port in 1998. With all these releases, and to my knowledge, only the original 1991 version was ever localized for the US. With this release, it's a total remaster, and you can tell a lot of time and effort went into this remaster, even before you jump into the game itself. Now, the first thing I did after booting up the game was checking out the settings. I noticed there were 4 options under the art styles. There's a classic style, which is the original art and maps, classic maps, which is the remastered art and the classic characters, then there's remastered maps with the classic characters, and finally remastered, which is the remastered characters and remastered maps. Now, with the remaster, you also have the option of 2 different background music. You can go with the modern remastered music, which is a reorchestrized score, or you can go with the 91-94 classic version. Now, one other nice touch that they did, you'll notice here, is that depending on what graphics you choose for art style, you'll either get the original artwork style here, or you'll get the remastered art style here. Honestly, I was not expecting this many options going into this review. It made me incredibly happy, as I really do enjoy the old school art and the game music, and I'm a huge fan of the Langrisser series, which is a spiritual successor to the Langrisser series. Now, right here is the original art style and the map style that you would have seen in the 91 game or the PS1 release. One thing I did forget to mention is the entire new Japanese audio track that was added into the game for voiceovers, which is fantastic. Really gives a lot of feeling to the game. Now, here's the same thing, but this time with the remastered map and the remastered art style. As you begin the game, you are given a brief intro in the world of Celia by Lucilius, the goddess of light. We are told the world is in peril due to the forces of darkness, and she's been waiting for someone as courageous as you to come along and save the world. She'll ask you several questions with 3 choices each. The combination of these questions will help determine what your starting stats will be. Now, I threw in this comparison video here to show you guys the difference between the original classic art style in the upper right and then the remastered here in the background. You'll notice that there's quite a bit of difference in the art style as well. You see that kind of across the entire game, but very prominent character design changes here. Now, coming up are the couple of questions that she's going to ask that's going to determine your starting stats. I did this a couple of times, and it did make a difference in the strength you receive versus the magic. And I think it also affected 1 or 2 items or starting skills, which was a nice little touch. So you can kind of play any way you want, but this will determine your starting stats that you'll see at the end of this clip. Well, Langrisser is a typical JRPG tactical warfare game from the early 90s with its grid-based combat, class tree system, spells, mercenaries, skills, and items, which you can find in most of the games of its time. However, there's some things that Langrisser offers that you may not find in other titles. The class tree system is a system that allows you to basically upgrade or evolve your characters into new classes, like Final Fantasy Tactics or Vandal Hearts. An example of this system is going from a fighter to a Silver Knight or a Lord. As you progress through the game, you'll gain more CP, which is what is used to unlock more classes. Each one grants an unlock reward such as new skills, spells, or mercenary units. Each character has roughly 12 classes, and the game allows you to switch between these classes after every chapter. This allows you to unlock other classes to gain the rewards, allowing the characters to be more well-rounded and flexible going forward. Now, one of the nice things when you start off the game is that it gives you the option for easy start. This allowed you to gain more money and CP, making it easier for the first few chapters, or to play as originally intended. I personally chose the easy start as I was eager to jump into the game and story and not have to grind out as much. Now, did I say going forward earlier? Because you can also go backwards. Yes, you heard me, backwards. Langrisser also allows you to revisit previous chapters. Well, why would you want to do that, you ask? Good question. There are a few reasons why you might want to return to previous chapters or maps. Maybe you missed one of the map treasures, or you need to farm EXP and money, or you want to change which route you're on. Now, you may be wondering what I'm referring to when I talk about routes. With Langrisser, there are 8 different routes, each one having story differences and a different ending. Now, during my playthrough, I ended up on Route D, but let's say I wanted to change my route, I could backtrack in the story to the branch split and go down another route. Now, the game does a great job of letting you know where these branches are under the story tree. However, you may not know what the condition is until after you've completed that map the first time. However, I do want to warn you that once you go backwards in the story, you cannot return to the later chapters without progressing through the story once again. However, you do get to carry over your character's progression, as well as the golden items, meaning there's no real downside other than having to progress through the story to get back to where you once were. With that said, it also applies to New Game Plus. After completing a route, you're able to start over with everything you had at the end of the game, or you can attempt Challenge Mode. Challenge Mode will let you increase your enemy's strength each time you beat it, or you can opt not to bring any of your items, stats, or gold with you for more challenging experience. My plan here is to play through the game again on New Game Plus. As you can see, I chose to bring everything with me, my levels, my gold, my items, but I am using the original art style and music as I play through. Now, one of the reasons I chose to go this route was because I wanted to see all the endings and all the story routes. I didn't particularly want to have to re-level and grind as I went back through the game. With that being said, the early stages, the early couple of chapters, you really just tear through as you have much better units and much better characters' equipment. So you kind of just tear right through it. There's not much to it at this point. However, I will say that you don't get as much experience, so leveling the higher level characters becomes nigh impossible at this lower level. However, if you have under leveled characters from your first playthrough, it's a good time to go ahead and level them up. Oh, there's one more thing I almost forgot to mention. Is after you beat the game, you get a little credit roll where the game tells you what happened to each one of the characters. This kind of reminds me of the ending credits with the Suikoden series, which is a great touch. Really lets you get to know what happened to each character after the end of the game. Now, Langrisser 1 is not a particularly long game. I was able to complete the game in just over 16 hours. With that being said, there are 8 different routes to complete, giving you a lot of replay value for this title, and I do plan to go back and complete all the routes. With that said, I would say it would take anywhere from 40 to 50 hours to complete the game and get all the endings, and that's if you aren't starting from scratch. Overall, I'm highly impressed by the quality of this remaster. It has everything you could want from the original look and feel, the music and art style, all the way to the new remastered and any mix in between. Now, I really loved playing this game, so much in fact, that in the first day, I binged most of the game. While the story is dated and the tropes are, well, definitely 90s, it's still a classic that draws you in and has a vested interest in the outcome of the characters and the story. Now, I do have one little pet peeve about this remaster, and that's the load time. Loading into the game is incredibly long for what I feel like shouldn't be for such a size difference. It's not a very big game. With that being said, the only time you really run into it is when the game first boots up and when you change settings. So when you change the settings, if you go in and you change, let's say, the art or the music, it does reload the map and the game while you're still in it, because you can do it even from the battle screen. But it's not terribly long. It's only on that really first initial boot into the game from the console that you see that load time. Now, I know I may be asking a little bit too much with this last piece. One thing I wish that the remaster had was the PlayStation 1 openings. With those, they were those early 90s anime style game openings. I would love to have seen those cleaned up HD transfers or remakes. Really would have given that last little piece to just push this remake over the top. Overall, though, this is just a fantastic remaster that I think anyone's going to love. Now, if you couldn't tell, I really fell in love with this game. It ticked a lot of the boxes for me, from old school nostalgia to beautiful art and music, both the classic and the remastered, and rewarding fun gameplay. If you're looking for a new RPG to sink your teeth into, you can do no better than Langrisser 1 and 2 Collection. And remember, heroes die, but legends live forever. This has been another Goshen's Game Review by Zelos. Look forward to Goshen's review of Langrisser 2.
無駄な抵抗はやめることだな。
それからイルザク王がこの剣を王子に渡してくれと。畳みかける。邪魔はさせないわ。そこ。聖なる力よ。
よし、全軍布陣を急げ。
バルディアの残党どもめ、覚悟しなさい。
たっぷり楽しませてもらおうか。ほとばしる。
バルディアの残党か。
道を開けなさい。や
って死ねることを栄誉に思え。